Hey, what's up? I'm X, and welcome back to the 4 Idiots series, the series where I try to teach you how to do bosses quickly and as efficiently as possible. Please subscribe so that these are the videos that get recommended when you search for these bosses. Today, we are doing the Nightmare of Ashihama. The Nightmare of Ashihama is located deep underneath Sleep, which is northeast of Taub, east of Darkmire, and southeast of Port Phasmatis. There are many ways to get here. You can run from Taub, you can take the boat from Andres north of the Ectofuntus, you could run from Varrock if you really wanted to, but it's a long trek here. But there is a teleport that you can get from doing the Fasani's Nightmare variant, but you will need to get 1 kill on the regular boss, so let's get right into that. Because it's such a long run, many people will use alt accounts to resupply them so that they don't have to run back and forth. Once you're at the Nightmare, you'll have to talk to this fish lady and then you'll be able to get in. If the Nightmare is floating in the air and has an icon underneath her, then it means that somebody is already fighting her, and the symbol underneath will dictate what phase that they are on, and you can also just right click and spectate them to see where they are at. This is the gear that I bring. You'll want to bring your best offensive melee gear with a good emphasis on crush damage. A bludgeon, a scythe on crush, Inquisitor's mace, or even a zombie axe are totally fine. You'll also want a very mild magic switch, prioritizing the things that do the most damage, as your accuracy doesn't really matter. For the rest, you'll just want a good mix of brews, food, and either Relisum's bombs or Sandfew serums for one of her special attacks that I'll explain soon. You may also want to bring Thralls and Death Charge. Now you can do this fight either solo or with up to 99 other players, but I think that the sweet spot is having about 3 to 5 players. Just keep in mind that the more people, the less money, and less chance that the item is actually yours. The Nightmare free-for-all world is a good place to grab people if you're just looking for random teams. When the Nightmare is on the ground, you are good to go in. When you go into the Nightmare, she will be on the ground until she wakes up. If this is your first instance of starting the fight, then she will automatically start, otherwise you will need to poke her to start the fight. This fight is very repetitive and very structured, so I'd like to explain the layout of this fight, and then I'll explain the special attacks that might disrupt your standard continuity. And here are the attacks that you'll see throughout the entire fight. If she does this Fairy Godparents Denzel Crocker kind of animation, then that's pray range. If she swirls around with these rose petals, pray magic, and if she leans back and drags her claws, then pray melee. She can also occasionally spawn these voids underneath you. You simply need to stand off the voids until the claws come out. Now the standard Nightmare has 3 phases. She will stand up and she will autofocus the person with the highest defenses in the room, where she will then attack with either magic, ranged, or melee. You need to pray accordingly, and keep in mind that you will take chip damage regardless. If you don't want to worry about praying melee, simply stand away from the tank, and if you are the tank, then a very popular strategy is to just pray melee the entire time and only switch when range and mage attacks come up. Attack the Nightmare until her shield hits 0. Once her shield hits 0, you will no longer be able to damage her directly and will want to do magic damage to the 4 totems around the arena. You can attack these totems with anything, but magic does do double damage, which is why it's also important to use a magic thrall here. Your accuracy doesn't matter so much, but your damage does, so try to maximize your damage however possible. Charge up all 4 totems, and then the Nightmare will be shot with a big blast of energy, which will damage her. After she's been shot, she will summon Sleepwalkers, 1 for every player in the room along the walls of the arena. The Sleepwalkers will make their way towards the Nightmare, and for each one of them that successfully gets to the Nightmare, you will take a large amount of damage. Now this is dependent on how many players there are. For example, if there was only 1 player and they missed the only Sleepwalker, you would take a massive and certainly lethal amount of damage. Whereas if you had 100 players and missed 2 Sleepwalkers, you might take about a 10. The Sleepwalkers have 1 HP and can be killed with just about anything, so a blowpipe or a fast attacking weapon is your best bet to avoid taking damage. If you take 5 damage after this attack, then you'll know you've done it correctly. The Nightmare will then stand up and do that same exact format again. The only difference between the phases are her special attacks, where she gets 2 per phase. Her first phase has a flower special attack and a husk special attack. For the flower special attack, she will segment the arena into quadrants with a line of pretty white flowers encompassing 1 area. You need to stand in this area, otherwise you will take rapid damage from standing anywhere else. You may also stand on the flowers and be perfectly safe. For the husk special attack, she will pick random players in the room to be husked, and there will be a magic and ranged husk on both of your sides immobilizing you. Now most of your team will more than likely help you get out of them, but keep in mind that people suck and you may be stuck in there. Her second phase special attacks are the parasite attack and the prayer swapping attack, which I believe is her most dangerous attack. Similar to the husks, she will pick a random assortment of players to be impregnated with a parasite. This parasite needs to be dealt with via Relisum's bombs or a Sandfew serum. When impregnated, your HP bar will turn into this pink color here to indicate that you are impregnated. If you don't take either a Sandfew or a Relisum's bomb, you'll take a huge amount of damage when the parasite bursts out of you. When it does come out, all players should focus on killing it as fast as possible, as it will rapidly heal the Nightmare and it will heal the pillars that you've been damaging. A good way to deal with the parasites is to stand underneath her when you think that the parasite is coming out so that it cannot heal her immediately, or run very far away from her her and do the exact same thing. Her prayer swapping attack will change your prayers to the prayer to the right of what you think it is. That was complicated? Let me explain. Your protection from magic will be protection from range. Your protection from range will be protection from melee. And your protection from melee will be protection from mage. AKA, pray the thing to the left of what you want to be praying. She will do this for 5 auto attacks and then your prayers will go back to normal. Please pay attention to your chat box that will indicate when this attack is over. Her final phase special attacks are the Spores and Zooming attack. The Zooming attack is very simple. She will teleport somewhere in the arena and face a direction. You need to quickly get out of her pathing, otherwise you will take a very large hit. For the Spores, the Nightmare will spawn a bunch of mushrooms all over the arena, and if you're within 1 tile of them in any direction, your character will become sleepy and be unable to run and attack slower than usual. It's important to note that if you're standing next to players while yawning, you can also pass that attack on to them, so it's best to just not do that. And that's the entirety of the fight. There are some things that you can do to make this fight a little bit easier, like bringing special attacking weapons for damage or coordinating defense lowering special attacks with your team per phase. You should be able to do this in just about any gear, keep in mind. The worse the gear, the less kills you'll be able to do, but it should be just about the same. You'll know you've gotten the MVP whether you get regular or big bones as the MVP, and the MVP has a little bit better of a chance to get loot, but it is not guaranteed. This boss is actually a lot of fun, and I wish people would give it more of a shot. I hope that this is a way for you to also get into Fasani's Nightmare, which I will have a video on very shortly after this one is posted. Thank you for watching, and as always, please subscribe, and I will see you in the Fasani tutorial. Goodbye.